Welcome to the Hole in the Head Moto Podcast, burning time, space, and money in the noble hobby of fixing old vehicles. In this very special episode, we acknowledge one particularly loyal listener, and the universe provides again. Here's Andy and Blaine.
It's time again to talk about the holes in our head, Andy. What is going on?
Man. Okay, so we have some big important updates.
Okay. All right. What's first?
Well, first is arguably more important, but not the one I really want to talk about, but it's one that I really want to talk about. And that is we have a friend with whom we go way back, turns out.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, way enough back. I want to call out, acknowledge, whatever, our friend Tim.
Is this Tim, our early adopter, faithful listener?
Our benefactor, Patreon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Tim, you never saw this coming, but we just want you to know that we see you and appreciate it. And long story short for everybody listening is we have a Patreon, okay, and have done since when we started. And as you do, you get a couple people coming in and out, and well, old Tim jumped in with both feet. He got his mug. He got some stickers. We called him out on the show. We did all the stuff.
Yeah.
And we kind of went quiet for a little bit in terms of the show. We kept talking. We kept motoring. But damn it, if Tim didn't just keep on Patreoning, and
that dude is still believing.
Well, here's where it gets good. He didn't have to. Right. He
right.
We're not producing with the regularity that certainly we want, let alone someone who's given good gas money. And instead of just saying, you know what, F you guys, cancel. Right. What Tim did was he went ahead and just scaled it all the way back to $1 a month.
But he stayed with the dollar, though.
But he just kept on $1 a month. And I don't know if this was like, if we're Tim's gym membership and he just forgot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's what I think we should do. Let's offer Tim a money back guarantee that we will give him all of his Patreon money back if he's unhappy with the show. But if he's happy with the show, to stay with us as fan number one for $1, and that he will still be our favored, most important fan. And of course, we'll need to have Tim guest on the show.
Well, we're gonna have to aim for that. I don't know about a money back guarantee.
Well, what is it? $25? I mean, it can't be more than $100.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you're pissed and you're like, that's dumb. Yeah, but I think I wanted to call Tim out because it's a strong move. Again, whether you meant to or not, it hasn't gone unnoticed. Certainly, by Blaine or I, but. Just the fact of like, all right, for me, what I heard, I don't know if that's what you said or what he said, but what I heard, what I heard was, this is worth it.
He's pulling for us,
and just keeping it. For me, it's every month. It's just a little bit of a poke and saying like, hey,
yep, I'm still here.
Hey,
I tell you what, I appreciate that. That's a deep belief that he's placed in us. We've kind of honestly abandoned him for great periods of time, but he has not abandoned us. And now it's time to square up.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Tim we don't know him, but we love him. We need to have him as a guest on the show. I'd like to know more about him without stalking him. I think that'd be unfortunate. But let's invite him on the show to reveal himself. And let him talk about, I want to know what his beliefs are. I want to know why he likes motorheads. And he's probably got a hole in his head too. And so he probably belongs with us for some reason.
Well, I've got his address from, we'll just go over to his house. And,
yeah.
No, Tim,
we really should. We really should. I think if we make voice contact with him and he seems like he's okay with us, we really should at some point, maybe not show up in his driveway, but show up in town
with a big check.
Yeah. Yep. $17 going back to listener Tim. But anyway, yeah, we should make it a point to go visit him and hang out. And I tell you what, I'm sure that what we think he's into us for $100 or so,
something like
altogether.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's take him out to one of those fancy Bay Area lunches and spend $100 taking him to lunch.
Let's get it. Well,
that's not even. Look at how old I am. That's not even a fancy Bay Area lunch.
Let's go get him some pie. Well, we'll figure it out. No, but Tim,
$100 lunch in the Bay Area is called Tuesday. So
yeah, and then he's gonna be like, "Wait, I spent how much on lunch with these assholes? We're eating at Sherry's." Well, anyway, Tim, again, Tim, thank you again calling out. Just wanted to give you that at the very least. Thank you,
Tim. I want to say that we value you, and I'm going to put so much into this show that it's going to be worth $2 to you shortly. Okay, we're going to fucking double down. We're going to be twice as good as we are, twice as prepared, twice as smart. And we're going to get another $1 out of Tim voluntarily. All right. Just by the quality of the Hole in the Head production. Look forward to it, Tim. You stayed with us and now we're staying with you.
Okay. Well, here we go. So frankly, hey, enough about Tim. Okay. Because we have a massive damn update. Because, just like what we were talking about where, that sort of, if you put it out there, it'll sort of manifest. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but something's going to happen.
I'm telling you, we are going to be on the Oprah Winfrey show. I don't know if she still has a show, but we're going to be there with all these other secret tellers and universe people that understand all this secret shit that we never got, but we are living it. So just to reflect for a moment, Andy, there was a time in our life when I confessed my willingness to murder you in order to acquire your Moto Marini.
Yes.
Within weeks, a Moto Marini for me appears. How do we explain that?
Magic.
All right.
Magic.
So we acquired it. It's in the family. It's part of our history now. It was a glorious time and a glorious event and a fantastic motorcycle. And so this stuff does happen. All right.
Yeah.
But how often does it happen twice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Twice.
Okay. So
because it's happened again, Andy.
It's happened again. Man. Whatever. It has. So long and short of it, Andy had a Moto Marini that he paid a reasonable amount for. Blaine really wanted one. The universe provided. We went and got it. Okay.
That's it.
Was it last? I don't remember recording this, but an episode or two before, we found out that Mr. Blaine found himself an Ariel Square 4, 1951.
Mark 1.
Mark 1, Ariel Square 4. Well, turns out...
we decided that you should probably get one. You said you had a hankering for a British bike, and then we kind of tongue-in-cheek said, well, you're probably going to need to get yourself one.
Yeah.
Right? Let me just ask you this, Andy. Was the universe listening?
Apparently,
because about 3 days after that, I get a note from the same guy that ran down my Ariel Square 4. He says, listen, I can't justify buying this because I don't know if you can either because you just got one. But look what came by the shop today. A guy in a trailer showed up with a 1954 Ariel, way complete, like a real motorcycle with wheels and tires and
Looks
a motor,
like a real motorcycle,
and a tank and a seat. I mean, it's a real motorcycle. Shows up and the guy wants to sell it. Sean calls me. All right. I look at it and think that's cool. It's way cool. I would love to get it, but I just shot my wad. I'm already invested in this other one. I can't really back out of that. Momentarily, I thought, you know what? I'm going to sell Andy my Square 4 for a small profit that he doesn't need to know about. Yeah. Yep. And then I'm going to buy that one. All right. But I've got to talk Andy into buying the junk from me. But as I thought about it, I really prefer having the junk. So it isn't like I was trying to be fair or nice to you. I was protecting myself.
Fair.
I prefer the junky custom one that I'm going to make to this one, because this one is so complete and so together. I mean, it really looks like it just needs to be pressure washed.
Well,
and it might run.
Well, from the let's back up. Okay, so yes, Sean called.
So anyway, yes,
Blaine.
that happened. That
happened. Blaine texted me, "Hey Andy, 1954 Ariel Square 4, 3 pictures. You sent me 3 pictures, and the clock started ticking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And at that point, I'm in the middle of a work day. I can pull that money together. It'll hurt a little bit, but I think I can do it, but it's going to take some time. Do I need to PayPal the guy now? Do I need to wire? Because if I need to wire him, I got to take the rest of the day off to make this happen. I got to bring money from different accounts and try and sell stuff and do things. And I have this decision to make. Do you want to shit or get off of the pot? And
that's right, Andy. And listen, believe me, in the course of our lives, wherever we're going to end up financially and whatever, the days that you say work is not that big of a deal, but motorcycles are, those are your best fucking days.
It was a moment of pride. Looking back on it, I went ahead and said, you know what? Hey, I think I skipped a couple meetings that day just to get my shit together. And I'm looking at Square 4 videos and do I need this? But the price was, it hurt a little, but the price was very right for what it is, or what it seems like it will be. If we are being square, if everything is as it is described, then I think it's kind of a killer deal, right? As far as
I always have this very optimistic approach when I look at barn finds. I always think the best is going to happen. And I try to buy it with in mind that the worst is going to happen. But in my heart of hearts, I'm emotionally singing songs and praises to the God of the universe because this Ariel Square 4 has come into our life. I have no doubt that it's going to be wonderful. Everything about it. And then you start, and of course, you put it next to the pile of shit that I bought. That is really a sketchy pile. And you look at this one, and that's why, it occurred to me is that I bet he washes it and it runs. I just kind of assumed that would be a possibility because this one is so complete. Now, not complete compared to a show bike, but complete compared to the pile of I don't even know if they're matching, but I have this desperate pile of parts that I think is an Ariel Square 4. This came in a trailer rolling with compression. You could kick it over. I mean, it looks like a bike.
Yeah.
And you had to pony up and you had no time to do it. And you had to decide what you really believe in. If you really do have a deep hole in your head, Andy. And what did you decide?
I pulled the trigger.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And what was it was a yes, but I had to do the yes with Sean directly. And Sean, it was an interesting thing where Sean's your friend. I mean, yes. In the history of things, Sean's your friend.
Yeah. If I was going to speak for Sean, even if you'd been friends with Sean for 25 years, it wouldn't matter. He would like me better. All right, he just would. He just prefers me. That's all right. I'm not holding it over you. But anyway.
Well, yes, but it was me jumping in with not a small purchase with someone I've met a couple times, but I had to just sort of say, "Hey, man, shoot straight. Is it there? Is it it's got the compression?" And that was pretty. Mm-hmm. He gave me the facts that he had, the images, the pictures that he had. And that's it. And I can him and haw about it. And then he texted, he's like, got somebody else asking about it. And then I realized oh shit, go.
You know what? That is it's such a great sales concept, right? So you never know if there's some guy's pulling Sean's leg, about that, or if that's really happening, or maybe Sean's having fun with you, who knows? But there is nothing worse than having an accessible deal come close to you. And then while you're pausing to go ahead and go through the deliberations, some other guy steps up and you just feel, oh, that is just the worst feeling of the world. And so, of course, a guy surfaced. And what did you do then, Andy?
I jumped, man. I did it.
You just pulled the trigger.
You just jumped. Did I tell you the segue? Did I tell you about when my mom bought the Guzzi Ambassador?
Yes.
She was at a garage sale.
Give us a quick review for people, because not everybody's listened to every show. Hard to believe.
So my Moto Guzzi Ambassador that my mom bought for at a garage sale. So she showed up in the morning to buy this thing. I talked her into skipping work, bless her, skipping work, going to the garage sale and buying this motorcycle for me because it was in Dallas and I was in Seattle. So she shows up to this thing and she's like third in line. Number 2 in line is a motorcycle guy. And where does he go? Beelines to the Moto Guzzi and looks at the estate sale guy and says, "How much you want for this?" And he's like, $750. And he's like, would you come down in it? And he says, no. So he's he's thinking there's nobody else trying to get this. They're trying to get plates and shit. And this little blonde lady behind me, she's trying to get the Hummel figures or something, And this guy's him and hawing, and he walks around, kind of kicks tires, and mom walks right up to that estate sale guy and says, "I'll take it." Bought that son of a bitch out from under the tire kicker, and I was like, ever since then, I'm like, just do it, man. Like, just get in there.
You know what? And there's something to be said too. And I don't know if this is one of those principles that Oprah talks about or not, but there's a time when I think we play these deals as if we're the only guys that are interested. We know it. And so we're going to go ahead and get the price to reflect that. And then there's other times where you think, you know what? There is so much goodness and love and joy and blessing. Who gives a fuck what it costs? Put the money down and get involved in something deeply beautiful, right? I mean, there's times you just do that. And like some of the most exciting stuff I bought, I did not get a good price on. And I'm a price shopper, and I'm a poor guy. I got it. But every now and then you just go, it's an honor to pay this number, or even more. I'd be proud of myself for paying even a ridiculous amount for this, just because it's commensurate with my passion. Hardly ever does that line up. And this was a deal that actually, so you ponied up, but I think you ponied up a really fair price for it. I think I got a good price for it. Yeah. And you got a good price for it. So, but it was still a ticket. It was a big enough ticket to worry about and to kind of scramble for. But I don't think you're ever going to be embarrassed about what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Yep. But you certainly would be embarrassed if all of a sudden you had that money in your pocket and somebody else had it.
Yep. And I couldn't touch it again, if I'd saved that money, but.
Yeah. So anyway, I hoped it was going to be, as I told you, trying to get you to do it, because again, when you're not buying motorcycles, the only thing you can do that's as fun is to get your friends to buy motorcycles. So I was desperately trying to get you into that and hoping that you would jump. You did. I kept insisting that it was going to be a bike that might run. Sean had a very good view of it as a runner and thought that it might be something. So anyway, that's where we left off. And you were going to make a trip down there to collect your Ariel.
So here's,
and then we decided that you would collect mine as well. So now I got this kind of came together in that way too.
Yeah, dear Tim, this is how it works out. I was going to go to Texas for a summer trip next week. Turns out. Can't happen. Got some, school things, kids in school, wife's got to travel, things like that. So I had to schedule my trip for end of May. I scheduled the trip. A week later, I get this call about the Ariel that's on my way. So now I've already got a trip planned to go pick up the bike I didn't know I was going to buy.
Look how generous the universe is. Like, it's even going to save you the shipping cost. I mean, come on. That's just
so yeah. So the story's writing itself. I've got a plan to head out of Seattle, go straight south, make some stops along the way. I'm sure I've got swap meets between now and then, but head straight south, stop by Sean's, pick up the bikes, hang a left, go to yours, keep on going, work on in Oklahoma, see what we can do.
Yes. So basically it worked out. And not that I pulled all the strings to make it work just for me, but I might have had an ulterior motive from the very beginning,
Yeah.
thinking that if Andy gets that Ariel, it's in the same place mine is. And I'm going to see if I can talk Andy into bringing my stuff by my house. So this whole thing may have been a selfish effort on my behalf to get my Ariel delivered. But I would rather think of it as that there was so much goodness and generosity from the universe in this deal that you received something better than you had ever hoped for. And I got free shipping on mine.
It's just it benefits everybody.
And I don't think you're sore about it. I don't think you feel you got took.
No, not at all. Not at all. It
Okay.
was just it might be the oldest and most expensive bike I will own.
Yes. Yeah. They sell, when they're desirable in whatever form they come out to be. I mean, it's a higher end purchase for a motorcycle, for a classic, for sure.
Yeah. It feels like a very, well, it is a collectible, and and it's just me. I get weirded out with money, but like when I say I paid up, it was less than 5, right? And so for me, that's a lot. But realizing that in a collectible bike market for this particular bike, I stole it for less than 5.
Yeah, well, even like there's some guys that would buy a 1911 Harley Davidson barn find, and they'd pay the barn find price for it, which is $125,000, right?
Yeah.
So that's a guy really stepping up, right? We're stepping up over still relatively small amounts of money.
We're very small players,
but it's big to us. It's big to us to shoot on a whim, on a photograph and a phone call to empty your sock drawer.
Yeah. We're going to get an Ariel. We're going to get 2 Ariels. We're going to have Ariels.
Let's get Tim an Ariel. He's a guy that should have an Ariel. Let's call him up. I bet if he's got $1 a month to give us, he's got money.
He's got money.
Yeah. He's got some money, motorcycle money anyway. Tim, if you're listening, get yourself an Ariel Square 4, and then we're going to need to get one other guy, so there's 4 of us. We'll figure out who the other 4th is. Maybe one of our other listeners could start. You guys, that's what we could do. We could have people apply to be the 4th member of the Ariel Square 4s.
Hey, do we know what Ariel guys are like yet? Have you been digging in?
I don't know.
That's a whole thing.
I don't know. Yeah, I get the feeling that there are guys that restore everything by the book. Right. I mean, there's Ariel stuff, and that's what you're supposed to do. And it's year by year correct. I'm just guessing that it might be it, or that's all I see anyway. Yeah. So I don't know how many guys are thinking, yeah, I took an Ariel Square 4 and I turbocharged it. And then, we don't know those guys yet, but I don't know. What's your feeling? Well,
it feels like it looks like a very polite, like you said, by the book, like engineering savvy, like they want it to be done correctly. There's a bit of poise to it, so they might be a little bit more, I don't know, lowercase s sophisticated, or at least committed to a mark, but yet still I'm way overthinking it, but like I just have the sense that they might be polite, but polite to the point where I'm going to be very self-conscious in showing them my final product.
Let me just say this. I am certain that in this crowd, we're the biker white trash for sure. For sure.
Yeah, likely.
Right. Yeah. There's no chance that we're the sophisticated leaders or contributors to the overall culture. Yeah. We're the guys that they're going to be embarrassed.
I feel like if we were all together in a crowd, there would be a lot of sighing when we talked. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. Or what's I'm sure they're probably too polite to roll eyes. But whatever else they do that is not, obviously rolling their eyes, they're doing something. I don't know what's the British equivalent to that, because it's probably a bit more sophisticated and polite. You know what? I bet they probably quietly compliment you. I bet that's what they would do.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, let's stay tuned on that. Next steps will be this giant trip. I got to get busy figuring things out. There's parts to be gotten and 3 photographs to be poured over to see what I could possibly order from what, podunk little place in, wherever England.
And look at what other gift you're getting. How many people want to go on a road trip to pick up their dream stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that in itself is a whole nother category of exalted living. And you're about to do that. So that's going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be lost on you.
It's going to be fun.
I think you had better, when you leave, either as the sun is rising or as the sun is setting, you better look off into that, acknowledge the universe, and cry your fucking eyes out about how good your life is. That's what I think.
This will be the trip that I run off a cliff somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Perfect way to tell the story.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk again.
All right. Bye. See ya.
Andy here again. Just wanted to reemphasize our appreciation for listeners and followers. We've tried a few different formats for the podcast, obviously, but trying to balance what we're interested in, what's happening, and what you're interested in, all with the time, space, and money to make it a sustainable effort. There are some long-form episodes as well as some interviews coming up, but please let us know what you think, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can get to us at Instagram or email us directly, actually at holeintheheadpod.com. That's actually at holeintheheadpod.com. And really, we love the support and gas money. But a review or rating really helps us out, and the feedback keeps us on track. So do it to it. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is produced and edited by Hole in the Head Moto. Find us on the socials at Hole in the Head Moto and see our website holeintheheadmoto.com for more info, swag, and pictures of projects. See you next time.